My name's Robin Lambert. I'm from Australia. I'm actually an athlete in wheelchair athletics, but I also have cerebral palsy. And yeah, I came across Tamar quite a few years ago because of the Enter the Fawn documentary. And yeah, we've been emailing for a while, and this is the first time we've kind of come together to work intensively.
La Mama offered us a chance to have a residency for 2 weeks in this space so that we could investigate what we call shaking, which is a technique in the body that releases muscles. It's a little mysterious, so we feel like we're really kind of just investigating some occurrence that we know to be very positive, and with the idea of maybe making it more available, especially for people with disabilities and the kids that I work with in Spain who have cerebral palsy, and mainly because a lot of physical therapy is not really something that those particular kids tell me they enjoy. And I mean, Robin might have another take on it.
No, I don't think many people enjoy physical therapy just because it's the same thing every time. You kind of have a physio come in, stretch you, and then after that you just tighten straight back up again, pretty much. And it feels very restrictive, where this feels a lot more like natural. So like the biggest thing with CP is obviously like the spasticity. So your muscles are constantly contracted, which means that you hold a lot of tension in your body, kind of very stiff and sort of resistant to a lot of movement. But through the shaking, it's sort of like it's a big release. So that your muscles get looser, but also you kind of have a fight or flight response when you have CP. So you walk around in almost a state of stress. So the shaking really helps with that too. It's kind of a release of that tension and that stress that sort of combines to make you kind of rigid and stiff.
Yeah, we test it because she goes out in New York City every day, with a lot of bombardment into your senses, right? And so it calms the senses. I mean, it would be good for dancers as part of a dancer's technique. It would be good for like absolutely everybody and anybody, because it just does, the body does what it needs to do, and it's kind of proof of the intelligence of the body and how sometimes we interfere so much with operations and medications, and sometimes some things could just go to the body as a source of healing. Because what we're watching is like the beginning, Robin. So the shaking is basically a pattern that you establish, like just opening, closing the legs or something, and then the habitual pattern gets tired, and it starts to just get all these kind of strange-looking movements as one muscle takes over for another, and various things are sort of self-corrected. And so in the beginning, we needed we couldn't use 5 people to hold Robin in place, because sometimes she reacts to any kind of touch. Her body just completely changes. And sometimes she just is left alone and it does its own thing. So I think one progression is after we do the shaking, she gets up and walks. And she uses a wheelchair, I don't know, sometimes?
Yeah. Half time.
But her walk, then after she's done the shaking is the time to put in some information, like a positive idea about her alignment. So she can make that change after the shaking because she's not held so rigidly. Is that what you would say?
I think a lot of it with CP, especially because I've had my tendons lengthened and stuff, there's nothing really wrong with my muscles or anything like that. It's all in the brain and it's all kind of habitual. So you learn these patterns and you kind of just keep doing them all the time, even when there's not necessarily a reason for it. So this kind of just gives you a clean slate to work off. And then if you put in that information and you're conscious of it, then it's easier to sort of integrate that into your life or your walk or whatever.
Yeah. Because without this, if your knees are going to turn in, gravity is eventually going to take them more and more and more in, and then you'll have to use more and more assistive things, have more and more operations. But you can almost reverse gravity with this.
Yeah.
You can get into such an alignment that that one thing holds up another.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. And you know, she may be doing a dance solo one of these days.
Still so convincing.
Yeah, I mean, she's a more sports person, and Greg, who I worked with before, was more a theater person who did the shaking, and he also has CP, and so he moved it into more dance. But whatever it is, it's sort of telling us that the body, you know, needs to be listened to, needs to be thought of differently than in an everyday way. So it's art. It's really art. The art of the body.
Yeah.
I might say that it would be very good if neurologists, physical therapists, doctors could look in on what we're doing, because it doesn't have any bad side effects. It's empowering to the person doing it, and it's radical, and it has startling effects. So it's sort of hard to change something that's already kind of mandated. Physical therapists do certain things, doctors do certain. So we're sort of like trying to have somebody come and watch this, and we have like a few people been interested, but we want to get it out there.
I just think regardless of all that, it's very like complementary though to all of that anyways. Like it doesn't have to be like, you know, it can be in conjunction with all that other stuff as well.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't want to put them out.
No, but I think like the two together would be like a really good match.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.